Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, Director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Now, I'm very sorry that it's been quite a while since the last Day X is complete one of these videos. I've got Day 5 and Day 6 complete. I filmed the Day 6 is complete video over a month ago, and I've just not gotten around to filming this particular video about Day 5. Now, Day 5 was a bit of a chaotic day. First, it was quite a different day from the usual sort of thing that we do, which is normally that we do a dialogue scene, very easy sort of thing with two actors. You can sit down, it can be inside, it can be outside, maybe a little bit of blocking, that kind of thing. This was quite a different day in that we were doing a dream sequence sort of thing. It's at the very beginning of the film. So originally, the film began with Johnny Mozer playing at the Cross Lancers, and we had Digicam handled by Oleg, who is amazing at this sort of thing, and he was filming it. And I was kind of looking at what I had, and it wasn't necessarily that the footage wasn't good, it was that my performance sounded like crap. And that's okay for what Johnny Mozer is, because Johnny Mozer himself isn't meant to be like the most talented person out there. He's not meant to be making like super good music, and the fact that he's doing kind of a crap gig but thinking of himself as being really like lofty and important, and like the audience he deserves an audience that cares about him and that kind of thing. I thought, well, hang on, maybe we could have some fun with this, because this is the very beginning of the film. This is when you need to make a good impression on the audience. This is when you need to have all your ducks in a row. This is the highlight, right? This is the first thing people are going to see. So I thought, why not turn it into a bit of a dream sequence? Because if Johnny Mozer is going out to these small town open mics, right, and he is treating them like he's playing Glastonbury or the Red Rocks or the Hollywood Bowl or whatever, right, or like some big amphitheatre, he's treating it like that. So in his mind, I feel like he would see a different thing than what we, the audience, see when we just see him playing the guitar. So I thought, why not have some kind of really solid contrast between his interpretation of the performance versus what the performance actually was at the Cross Lancers. And I thought that might be a good way of introducing who Johnny Mozer is, his egoism, his arrogance, and his delusional sense of grandeur. So I thought, well, hang on, what I can do is I could set up my own kind of stage gig thing at Warren Farm, which is a location that is just, it's so beautiful there. It's genuinely my favourite place in the entire universe. I filmed probably about 20 videos for this Johnny Mozer like channel. You know, like these talking ones. I've done about 20 videos at Warren Farm in various spots. It's such an amazing location, and I wanted to do something with it for this film. So I've had it introduced, right, and I set up, I don't know if you can see it, we had this curtain that was set up, right? So we taped with gaffer tape my curtain, right, that I just took from my bedroom. I took that and I gaffer taped it to the wall, right, brick wall. So we had to use quite a lot of gaffer tape to make sure it actually held. And on the roof it had like the asphalty kind of stuff that goes on rooftops, right? And I also thought, well, he needs a spotlight. He needs something behind him to illuminate the hair, to make him seem like he's some kind of godlike figure coming down from the heavens to present the world with the true form of rock and roll, some lame shit like that, right? So I thought, okay, so you see that up there, that little thing there, that's one of my Neewer lights. £150 for two of them, and then you see this sort of orange sort ofness here. That's coming from a Neewer light, another one that's facing this direction. So this is literally just up here. It's kind of holding the curtain down. And this is one good thing about playing yourself, playing the main role and sort of acting and directing and stuff, is that I don't necessarily have to care about the health and safety with regards to myself. I can take risks because I'm not going to sue myself. I can't, you know, put down a workplace bloody complaint against myself about the health and safety thing, right? So as long as no one that is helping me out ever has to be put in any kind of danger, and I can take that danger on myself, I can take the risks. So I'm literally climbing up this thing. I'm climbing up this, putting all this here, gaffer taping all this here. Hadid and Oleg were at this shoot, and they were at the bottom. They handled everything that was on the ground, on the floor, that kind of thing, and then they shot me, right? And I was the one that was climbing up, because I would never put anyone other than myself in any kind of harm's way, because look, I quite enjoy this sort of stuff. I like climbing those buildings. I've climbed them millions of times, okay, not millions of times literally, but hundreds of times, literally hundreds of times in my life. I know exactly where to climb, how to do it, etc., etc. and I'm quite tall, so it all kind of helps, right? Now, this was quite an immense point in my life in general. I've noticed that my life has immediately gotten way better, right? Since the 24th of September this year, right? Now, what happened on the 24th of September was I went to a networking event in Liverpool Street, right? And I met Hadid there, who has been in one of my videos. It's called Making a Film by Embracing the Chaos. That's what it's called. And so I met him there at this networking event with his friend Shivani. Really lovely people. We spent most of the time at this networking event, not even networking, we just talked to each other outside, and we just, I pitched them this idea, they seemed on board, and we had a couple meetings after that where we just went to various cafes, and I kind of quite manically just all the information that they could ever need to know about this film onto them, and they seemed on board, so I was super happy to have them on, and they've been so much help in terms of setting up various days of filming and all this kind of stuff, so I can't give them enough credit for what they're doing, right? And with Hadid coming down and helping on the various days, and Shivani helping with finding locations and controlling things from behind the scenes and all that sort of stuff, right? We've got a little WhatsApp chat where we just, I like to post various really nice comments that have come on, or some funny ones, and you know, sometimes like update to the channel, update to the film, or update to the casting, that kind of thing, right? And we have little backs and forths on that. I met them on the 24th September at this networking event, and then from there, everything started to just go right. Right? I'm not like the happiest person in the universe. I'm not going to say I'm depressed or anything like that, because I've never got clinically diagnosed or anything like that, and I wouldn't want to. But I certainly was not a happy bunny, right? Was not a happy person, okay? But since the 24th of September, everything has just been aligning itself in some matter-of-fact perfect way. And then on the 7th of October, so a couple of weeks later, in that time I'd spent sort of figuring out the Johnny Mozza thing. I've been writing bits of script, and I've been arranging locations and setting up the first couple of days of shooting and that kind of thing. I set up the Johnny Mozza channel, which was originally going to be a general film set vlogs and just marketing channel for this film, Johnny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. And then it seemed to expand into this overarching motivational creative space, community for people to come and just, I don't know, I feel like I hope I'm making people feel like they can be themselves. That's what I want to accomplish with this channel, is allow people to feel like they are allowed to be themselves, and that they will be accepted for who they are, rather than trying to become something that they're not just for the sake of being accepted by others, right? Because you'll get a hell of a lot further just by being genuine and being yourself. As I found by doing this channel, because I've done so many channels before where I've been some fake person, or you know, an alias, or a character, or whatever. You know, or I was just trying to game the algorithm, just trying to shit out garbage content, you know. I was doing all sorts of stuff, little experiments to try and, you know, do whatever it is that I'm doing right now, okay? And so after the channel started taking off, I then ended up meeting someone that was just really amazing, outside of the general film sphere. So now I'm not just thinking about film all my fucking life, and I'm more than just a robot that just creates random motivational stuff. So there's actual meaning behind the entity now, rather than just this industrialized process, if that makes any sense. So just generally in the personal life as well, everything's just immediately gotten so much better. Everything feels so much more holistic and fulfilling, and et cetera, et cetera. And I noticed, right, and this is quite spooky actually. So I've mentioned in a couple of these videos that I've gotten divorced, right? So I had to do a consent order, which basically just means because your finances aren't completely separated if you get divorced, right? So what I found is, so I applied for the consent order of a solicitor, and I was sorting all that sort of stuff out. Very boring, right? But it takes fucking ages, and there's an awful lot of going to the library and printing out forms and filling out the forms and sending the forms to random fucking people that live in wherever, and then getting forms back and then filling out the forms again and then sending an email and then going back to the library to print more stuff out. Probably about £50 in fucking printing costs. Anyway, right? I noticed, right, that this event at the Strongman Bar, it began at 6 p.m. on the 24th September. Right? And I got an email, right? I'm going to get this email up because it came through at 5:57 p.m, right? And it said that Everything was sorted with regards to the consent order. Everything was sorted with the divorce. Everything was finalised, and I didn't need to think about anything again ever with regards to it, right? 3 minutes after that email was sent, right? And I read the email straight away, right? So I knew exactly what it was like in the minute that it was sent, right? Because it came up on my phone. 3 minutes after that, do I go into this networking event and meet Hadid and and Shivani and a load of other beautiful creators, etc. And then from there, my life began to immediately get better, right? Now, I'm not a spiritual person. I'm quite a realist, and I like to stay grounded and that sort of thing. But I can't think of any other way of explaining just how much of a coincidence that is. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay? From the one chapter ending and another chapter beginning. And I think that is just so immense. And I think I'm so grateful to all of the audience that follow along with these kind of videos. And I'm so grateful to every single person that has gotten anything out of a video that I've made, that has been motivated to create something, or that has felt slightly better about themselves in some way, or that has fulfilled their life in some new way, or tried something new, or just experimented in general. I'm so grateful to everyone that gets something out of these videos, right? And I plan to continue doing these going forwards. And in the new year, I am going to slow down these videos and start doing 1 video a day as opposed to 2, right? But I'm going to spend that time that I will have gained free sorting out the Johnny Mozzer film, because I will confess there has been a reason that there hasn't been a Day X is Complete video for quite a while, is that I've been spending way too much time sorting these videos out and just doing these videos. And little side projects and little gigs and stuff like that, and just, you know, just in my personal life in general, seeing friends and all this sort of stuff. Sorry about that. Sorry to everyone that was that's been involved with the Johnny Mozzer project so far, like in the real world, that I've been like hiring out on Mandy, or like I've met and networked with, and like we're arranging days and stuff. Sorry that this has taken so long to get back to where it was, because I know I've spent basically a month not doing anything with it. And just building this channel up. And I think my rationalization for it is, I want this film to have an audience when it actually comes out. So I've been building this channel in order for when the film actually comes out, for it to have as big an audience as possible of people that might be interested in it. There's a magpie that just stared at me. And he did it sort of like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So that was kind of fun. Anyway, that's kind of the reason that there hasn't been many of these videos. And I do apologise for that, and I do intend to begin filming again soon, casting a Darren, who's a character that I haven't done yet, casting a few other people, and there's been people that I've been meaning to contact. You know when you someone messages you, and then you don't message them back that day, and then the next day you're like when they message you, you're kind of like to yourself, okay, I'll message them tomorrow. And then tomorrow you forget to message them. And now suddenly, bam, it's been 2 days since they messaged you. And now it's like a big thing in your head where you need to respond to them. And almost you feel bad, and so you kind of catastrophize it. And then 2 days turns into 3 days, which turns into 4 days, which turns into 5 days. There's someone that's a really good friend of mine, and it's completely my fault that I haven't responded to his text. Right? He sent a really interesting idea about the Johnny Mozzer film, what we could do after the film actually came out. And I just never responded to it, and I don't know why. I have no idea. It's completely my fault, right? And it's because I've been focusing so much on this channel. And I think in the new year, I'm going to shift focus away from the channel, while still doing like daily videos. Don't worry, I'm not going to disappear. I'm still going to do daily videos, but I'm not going to do this ridiculous, just never-ending cycle of content that I'm doing at the moment, right? And I'm going to start focusing just on the film itself, right? And you'll start seeing more other types of videos, maybe like videos where I'm just working on the film, or just doing editing, or just on-set vlogs, or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. Rather than more of these philosophical, overarching kind of themes that I'm kind of getting at the moment, right? So with this day of filming, I had just come back from the best day of my life ever, bar none, right? I'm not going to get into why it was the best day of my life. All I'll tell you is, an hour before I began filming this, I was on Cloud Graham's number. Now, if you don't know what Graham's number is, basically it's a number that is so large that it makes the biggest number that you could possibly think of a mere rounding error to 0 compared to the size of Graham's number. It's so big that if you were to describe it via the number of subatomic particles in the entire universe that have ever existed in the entire universe, you're not even getting to close to 0.00000000001% of the actual scale of what Graham's number is. That's how big it is, right? That's the cloud I was on, right? And so I think that worked quite well for doing a dream sequence. So I'm kind of doing a lot of this, right? And I'm cutting around a lot of stuff, and I'm going to adjust to the specific nature of the cuts. There's so many different options we have here for what we can do. I'm going to mute this because it's a bit irritating. I do like this version of the song, Communication. Yeah, so there's loads of different parts, and I wanted to make sure that I did it during Twilight because I actually specifically wanted a variation in the time of day. I wanted that to be a part of it because I wanted it to not feel like reality, right? I wanted this to feel like a bit of a dream sequence, hence the 4x3, and I'm going to color grade it in some probably quite funky sort of way and have a lot of fun with it, right? And also there's extra little bits that I want to shoot in here as well, like there's bits where he stares out into the audience and there's little things like that. And I can change location, I could do stuff in front of a green screen, and I can really go wild with this first minute and do even more stuff. But the general idea is that this is what he feels like is going on, and then towards the end of it, if I can, yeah. So you see, this is the slow zoom in, the song's ending, bam! And I'm going to do a better transition than that. This is the actual reality of what's going on. And my goal is to convey that as coherently as possible. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to probably film a little bit extra where I show some amps in the background and stuff like that, because I had this idea where he sees some amps in the background, so we establish there's big amps behind him, big stacks of amps, and that's what he imagines, right? And then he's going to turn around and we're going to break the 180-degree line just for a second to show that just this tiny, shitty, tinny amp, right? And that is what kind of causes them to sort of do that then brings them back into reality, right? Just a quick little 2-3 second thing, little vignettes, as it were, right? And then it comes back to this, and then it will go into the rest of the film. And I think it's important to have this kind of bombastic thing at the beginning, because this is the first impression, not just of the film, but of Johnny Mozzer, the character. What is Johnny Mozzer as a person all about? Well, he makes music his entire identity. He puts music before himself when it comes to who he is, right? And I think that by introducing him via music, that is actually truly introducing him. That's the him that is actually there. It's like the real him is the stage persona, but he's not someone who is big enough to have a stage persona, so it just comes off as quite awkward and stilted. And I feel like he ends up alienating the people around him because he's trying to be this rock and roll legend, even though he's a complete fucking loser. And I think that kind of contrast is quite fun. And I think that's the interest and intrigue that goes into this film and why people might want to follow this film, right? So, yeah, my plans for going forwards for day 7 and day 8 are, 1, I need to do a day of just me and maybe Hadid and Oleg or whoever, right? Just on camera, right? Just filming me going around. There's a few, like, in-between shots, as in like between two scenes we need like establishing shots on like me getting off a bus and stuff like that. So I'm going to do one day that's just dedicated to sorting all that out, and then I need to do another day which is introducing the character of Darren, who is an old school friend who is going to be the other half of the plot, and that's eventually going to wrap back around into the climax of the film, which is the big gig that he's going to play at the end of the film. Essentially the story of this film, which, yeah, you probably want to know that 19 minutes into this video. You want to know what this film's about, yeah? So the film is, Johnny Mozzer is this, like, you know, quite loser musician, right? He's couch surfing, he's on Universal credit, and he treats every open mic that he plays like he's playing fucking Glastonbury, right? And what ends up happening is he's sat outside a pub having a fag, right? And he overhears a venue manager on the phone. He's like, "What? You're joking? Alright, well, thanks for letting me know. Bloody opening act pulled out my thing on Saturday. Like, what am I going to do? Obviously, I'm going to get an actor who can actually act and not do that. But Johnny Mozzer is going to overhear this and he's going to sidle up to him. He's going, oh, so I hear you need a band. It's like, yeah. Do you have a band? It's like, yeah, I've got a band. Here's my CD. Right? He doesn't have a band. Right? The CD doesn't have anything on it. Right? He's now got until Saturday to 1, arrange a band, 2, arrange a set list, and 3, actually figure himself out, because he's also completely running out of money, right? So he's couch surfing and he's running out of people to couch surf with. He can't just stay at someone's house for like 3 weeks anymore. Now it's a day here, a day there, and some days he might even be homeless in between it, right? So what's he going to do? How is he going to manage with all that? How is he going to survive, right? That's something that I really want to cover with this film, and that combined with the Universal credit, combined with the gig, I feel like all of this combines to create quite almost a bipolar character who has 2 distinct halves. One, the overwhelming phony confidence, and 2, quite a mousy figure who is quite scared of the repercussions of his actions. And I think those 2 things come together to create quite a interesting character in a very simple plot. This is a very basic plot. This is just a sitcom plot. And I designed it to be that. I want it to be something that we can quite loosely hang various plot threads on and have fun with it. And if people have ideas, then we can incorporate them into the film in various ways. I didn't want to make a plotty film. I don't really care about the plot in most films. That's a controversial statement, but I don't care about the plot. I care about the characters, right? I don't give a shit about what they're doing. I care about how they're talking to one another and what they're like as people, right? That's what's interesting to me, not the specifics of what's going on. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you managed to get something out of it. And I'm very, very sorry that I haven't done one of these videos for quite a while. And I do intend to get back on the track as regards to doing the film and catching back up with myself, because yeah, I have fallen a little bit behind, and I can't apologize enough for that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you have a great rest of the day. If you're working on a film at the moment and say maybe you've taken a bit of a break for various reasons, let me know maybe why that happened. How did you get back on the horse? How did you carry on? How did you get this thing done? And yeah, just let's start a discussion about making films in the comments, because making films is incredibly fucking fun, isn't it? It is.